Glad you can join us. Here's what we have for you this Thursday, kicking off trade talks on the sidelines of the World Cup draw.
We'll either let it expire or we'll maybe work out another deal with Mexico and Canada.
Ottawa's game plan and what's at stake for the critical meeting.
It's terrible because I'm on a low income.
A painful food forecast. Which prices are set to spike the highest?
Searches that really drove public conversation this year.
Plus, unveiling Canada's browsing history, what we searched for the most.
CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
Well, we learned today that leaders of Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. will hold separate meetings tomorrow on the sidelines of the FIFA World Cup draw celebration in Washington. And it is at a time that Donald Trump is threatening to leave the trade agreement that binds the three nations. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbon now on what this means as talks continue today on the future of CUSMA. Joy.
Sandy, Friday will be the first time these three leaders will be together on stage for the World Cup FIFA draw. A hopeful, even symbolic visual for those looking to protect the free trade agreement. The president, who prides himself as a tough trade negotiator, threw out a bomb the other day.
We'll either let it expire or we'll maybe work out another deal with Mexico and Canada.
This as marathon meetings are being held in Washington over the future of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. The message from Canada's largest businesses and companies: improve it, extend it, but keep it.
Let's create a fortress North America where we get out of our own way, where we're not competing with each other, but we're leveraging our strengths. And I put the emphasis on energy, not only Canada's strength, but really North America's strength.
But trade tensions are high and expectations low after trade talks stalled with Canada. The president blew up over an anti-tariff Ontario TV ad, quoting Ronald Reagan. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer says when it comes to the USMCA, all scenarios are on the table. Telling Politico, the president's view is he only wants deals that are a good deal. The reason why we built a review period into USMCA was in case we needed to revise it, review it, or exit it. And where better to ease those trade tensions than at a sporting event where President Donald Trump will play host. A little soccer diplomacy and FaceTime between Prime Minister Mark Carney and President Trump. And Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum might just smooth things over.
It's a sign that as neighbors, as we are, we understand on how to collaborate, on how to hear each other. I believe that the world is moving from free trade to a more fair trade.
The U.S. Trade Panel has heard from dozens of Canadian, U.S. and Mexican representatives, and they all seem to be saying the same thing, that the USMCA trade agreement is crucial to these economies. Sandy?
All right, Joy, thank you so much. Now, tariffs and trade are behind expectations that food costs will overtake inflation next year in this country, and it means you should anticipate paying more for beef, for chicken, vegetables at the grocery store, with the average family of four shelling out almost $1,000 more in 2026. CTV's Abigail Beeman breaks down the numbers and the specifics, behind the jump in expenses. Abigail.
Sandy, shoppers say they've been dealing with higher prices for what feels like a long time, and now we have a clearer picture. This year, food prices rose by 3.4%, with an even higher jump expected next year. As a new and breastfeeding mom, more expensive food prices mean hard decisions for Valerie E. Madison.
Well, now even the quantity of food as well, I have to cut a little bit, to have the quality, so you have to cut it because, yes, it's just so expensive.
According to a new report, overall food prices are expected to jump between 4 and 6% next year, leaving a family of four with an annual grocery bill of $17,571 and change, up almost $1,000 from last year.
This is our 16th edition, and so we've never predicted an amount like this.
The biggest driver this year, beef, climbed 19% in the first quarter and 7.2% overall.
because of beef prices, people are so shocked they pivot towards chicken and pork. We're also expecting prices for both chicken and pork to increase as well.
Other factors impacting food prices are the trade war, the GST holiday, and changes to the temporary foreign worker program.
10.6 million Canadians are food insecure, but those that are missing meals on a daily basis or weekly basis, those are 2.8 million. And so food banks right across the country have risen to the occasion.
Food costs have driven Paul Wang to take transit.
You have a choice of gas or the food.
It's terrible, because I'm on a lower income.
In addition to the U.S. trade war, the report notes other things to note for next year include the impact of more severe weather events and the new grocery code of conduct, which fully comes into force in January. Sandy?
All right, Abigail, thank you. Now, all of this also has a cascading effect on cattle ranchers and at the butcher store, which is why we asked CTV's Kathy Lee to talk to some folks affected directly. All right, Kathy, what did you find out?
Sandy, many butcher shops have had to adjust quite a bit this year, including Bon Ton Meat Market. Owner Greg Keller says during the decades he's run this business, he's never seen the cost of beef so high. This is an established shop in Calgary, and they have a loyal customer base, but it wasn't sustainable to keep selling their beef at the price they usually would. Instead, they've lowered it a bit so that it's more accessible for shoppers. Keller is hoping there is reprieve on the price of beef eventually.
It's better for us if the price comes down a bit. Because, I mean, the cost of our inventory, the cost of our shrink, the cost of everything is highly elevated.
Experts say the reason the cost of beef is so high is because of simple economics, supply and demand. The demand for beef hasn't diminished. In fact, it's increased due to a higher population in Canada. But the cattle herd in the country is the lowest it's been in 30 to 40 years because drought has killed off a lot of the food the animals eat.
If there's less pasture, they can retain fewer animals on that pasture. So they either need more of it or they need to liquidate some animals.
Because it takes time to rebuild the herd, the price of beef is expected to remain high into next year and possibly the year after. As for Bon Ton Meat Market, Keller says some customers have decided to buy other kinds of protein that are more affordable or have opted for cheaper cuts of beef. Sandy.
Thank you, Kathy. Now, so how else to shop wisely during these trying times? CTV's Allison Bamford checks out the grocery stores for ways that you can save. Hi, Allison.
Sandy, so many of us already turn to technology and different apps to help solve our problems. And it's no different now when Canadians are looking to save more money at the grocery store.
They need apples.
Wally Adewoyan is typing out a grocery list, searching for the best deals. He's using an app that he created.
If I can get the cheapest, I will definitely go for it.
Sky-high grocery prices are a driving force behind My Flyer. Adewoyan has been developing it for the last 6 months. Not for public use yet, the app prices out grocery items at every store within a specific radius. Users can select the cheapest options from several stores, and the app will create a GPS route, factoring in drive time and gas to determine the most cost-effective grocery trip.
If you can get that kind of information at your fingertips for cheaper, locally, I think that would be great.
Another app, Flip, allows shoppers to browse digital flyers, while others connect consumers with discounted grocery store foods nearing expiration.
$2.92 to make this meal.
Earlier this fall, a University of Waterloo student helped develop Scrimp, an app that suggests budget-friendly recipes based on local deals.
Our users are saving anywhere from about $50 to $100 per week.
With the cost of groceries only expected to rise, it might be worth taking a little extra screen time before heading to the store. Sandy?
Good information, Allison. Thank you. Food banks, as we know, were already having a difficult time meeting the demand. The price of food going up can only make things worse, especially as families with children now make up 45% of those in need. CTV's Alex Carpa spoke to some relying on the help.
So things that we would get from the food bank would be store brand soups.
It's been a difficult last few years for Jacqueline Stone and her family.
You could only get by on soup and crackers for so long.
Rising costs has made it hard for Stone to make ends meet. She's now relying on a local food bank for help.
It's heartbreaking. It's hard. It's a day-to-day battle.
A new report from Harvest Manitoba shows up to 60,000 people in the province are accessing food banks each month. Nearly half of them, 45%, are families with children, a significant increase from 5 years ago.
Family sizes are getting larger. The demographic of folks that are accessing our services are getting younger, and they're feeding more children. There's more children accessing our services.
The report found the increasing cost of living is driving more people to food banks. Rob McCaw has been volunteering at Harvest Manitoba for 14 years, but started relying on food banks for help 3 years ago.
I did a budget and it's cost me about $1,700 a month to live, and that's roughly about what I get. So I'm just barely getting by. I'm all alone and I don't have anybody to really help me in life.
A lot of tomato sauce.
As for Stone, she wants to see all levels of government step up to help those in the same situation she is in.
You find yourself going through the grocery store, grabbing what you need, and when you are ready to check out, you pretty much have to do an audit of your cart to see if you can afford everything.
Harvest Manitoba has outlined a list of 10 recommendations to address food insecurity here in the province, including increasing social assistance and calls to implement a livable basic needs benefit. Sandy.
CTV's Alex Carpa. Alex, thank you. Consultations began today on Quebec's controversial Constitution bill. A draft was tabled 2 months ago and meant to be a unifying declaration of common values in Quebec, including secularism, equality between men and women, the right to abortion, and status of the French language. But the bill has faced opposition, with critics saying it would erode human rights by limiting dissent. More than 200 individuals and groups are scheduled to appear. The leader of the BC Conservative Party has resigned less than 24 hours after suggesting he would stay in the job. John Rustad made the move in the face of a caucus mutiny.
I was not prepared to go forward and have that civil war and drive that divide, because I believe strongly that we need that common sense change in British Columbia, and there's only one way to deliver that.
20 Conservative MLAs announced they had lost confidence in Rustad, and yesterday the party said he had been removed, although at the time Rustad vowed to remain the opposition leader. Rustad said he will keep his seat as an MLA. And footage to show you now, released by York Regional Police just north of Toronto. A dramatic chase that led to a man facing 32 charges, including stunt driving.
Is it a unit? What is going on? Is he going through red lights? Yeah, he is. All right, we've got a live one here. Yeah.
Officers reported a Dodge Caravan driving erratically. Turns out the minivan was stolen, and the suspect tried and failed to snatch another vehicle from a driveway during the pursuit. A spike belt was then deployed.
Yeah, westbound. He's starting to spark up. He's sparking good. He's running. He's running.
K-96, they're on now. They're just taking him into custody.
The chopper captured the driver ditching the car in a parking lot and then chased him down on foot. Police say they've also linked the suspect to 2 break-and-enter incidents last month.
This execution was flawless in terms of teamwork, resilience, and just a good old-fashioned way of police getting the job done.
The FBI's Kash Patel announcing the arrest of a man suspected of planting bombs in Washington the night before the January 6th riot 4 years ago.
Let me be clear. There was no new tip. There was no new witness. Just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work.
A 30-year-old man from Virginia is now in custody. He's been identified as Brian Cole Jr., and police were seen searching his house today. Authorities had offered a $500,000 reward for any information on the suspect who placed the devices at both the Democrat and Republican headquarters near the Capitol building. The devices were discovered and deactivated on the day of the riot in 2021, but police say they could have been lethal. U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee members say a top Navy admiral told them no order was given by the Secretary of Defense to kill 2 survivors of a strike on an alleged drug boat in the waters of the Caribbean.
Admiral, General, what's your message to the American people?
Admiral Frank Bradley briefed lawmakers today who were shown a video of the destruction of the drug boat that killed 11 people. The attack included a second strike, which killed the survivors of the first hit. Lawmakers say Bradley denied a Washington Post report that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gave an order to, quote, kill them all. A Pentagon Inspector General report released today also says Hegseth could have endangered U.S. troops earlier this year when he discussed military plans in the messaging app Signal in a group chat that included a journalist. And 4 countries say they will boycott next year's Eurovision music contest, with Israel remaining in the competition. Spain, the Netherlands, Ireland, and Slovenia are pulling out after the European Broadcast Union decided not to vote on Israel's participation. A number of nations had called for the country to be excluded over the war in Gaza. A line in Canada's federal budget last month said the Liberal government would explore participating in the contest in the future. Coming up after the break, calling out the Prime Minister.
I think this highlights the need maybe for a longer presence next time.
How Indigenous leaders are voicing their frustration directly. The annual meeting of the Assembly of First Nations in Ottawa wraps up today with frustration swirling around the gathering. The Prime Minister addressed the chiefs on Wednesday, later taking only a few questions, and it led to this exchange.
I think this highlights the need maybe for a longer presence next time. Chief Jacko, please. Chief Jacko, please. We understand.
Chief Kelsey Jacko from Alberta's Cold Lake First Nations had his mic cut off as Mr. Carney walked off stage. The two did end up speaking, but others expressed frustration that the Prime Minister wasn't more available. There was also confusion today when an appearance by several federal ministers didn't go according to plan either. CTV senior political correspondent Mike Couture was at the meeting. Okay, Mike, tell us what happened.
Well, Sandy, both Energy Minister Tim Hodgson and Defense Minister David McGuinty were scheduled to appear today, but then they disappeared from the list of speakers. Now, after meeting with BC chiefs, Hodgson had this explanation.
The decision was made that some other ministers would come. And
Tim Hodgson's office insists it was not his decision to not participate in the morning panel at the AFN Special Chiefs Assembly. Now, he did meet with BC chiefs over lunch in their separate caucus room, and they didn't hold back on how they feel about a potential pipeline to the West Coast.
Because of these governments that we were put in the poorhouse.
Our community has made it very clear that we're not going to tolerate it.
Okay, thank you. After the hour-long meeting, Hodgson insisted that any major projects like a pipeline can only be built with Indigenous consultation.
What we've said is if a proponent comes forward and they have a route, because there is no route today, then there will be discussions, and then people have a right to say what they believe, and that's their right.
Merle Alexander represents 2 coastal BC First Nations where a pipeline could end. He worries the government isn't listening.
I think he's sort of playing with the fact that there isn't yet a proponent and not dealing with the fact that, one, First Nations coastal First Nations have already said absolutely no to an oil pipeline.
BC's AFN regional chief was happy to host the minister, but is still against the Memorandum of Understanding between Alberta and Ottawa.
This MOU is a slap in the face of British Columbia. You know, they did this agreement without BC in mind.
Now, Hodgson insists this is just the beginning of the conversation, and he's committed to going to BC's northwest coast to meet with both communities and chiefs in the near future. Sandy?
Mike, thank you. A group of talented University of British Columbia students have transformed their classroom into Santa's workshop, adapting toys for children with disabilities ahead of the holidays.
I think it's really important that engineers and undergraduate students like myself can see ourselves making this huge impact towards community. We're not, doing it just as a profession, but we're doing it for a passion of helping others in need.
The students are partnering with the Makers Making Change program, retrofitting off-the-shelf toys so that kids with limited mobility can independently play by using a switch.
An actual physical switch that you could push with your cheek, you can push with your elbow, you can push with your leg. Whatever part of your body has the most strength and control, you can use that to control the toy.
Commercially adapted, accessible toys can cost hundreds of dollars, and these students say their modified toys are a fraction of the price. After the break, Canada's search party revealing the top terms that were Googled the most this year. It's December. Hard to believe we're this close to New Year. And as the year draws to a close, Google Canada is revealing what you most search for in 2025, from the moments that made headlines to public figures who took center stage. CTV's John Venevali-Rao browsed the trends that Canadians clicked on.
When it comes to summing up the year that's gone by, what better to look at than the things Canadians Googled in 2025. And one subject came up more than any other. The Blue Jays, who gave us some of the year's most memorable moments, including this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Grand Slam against New York. And in the category of news and events, these two words were the year's most looked up, followed by Canadian election results, Iran, LA fires, and the Charlie Kirk shooting. As for the person Googled the most, Mark Carney topped the list.
This was an election year, and Canadians were following the election every step of the way.
Serial killer Ed Gein came in second. He was the subject of a Netflix true crime series. When it comes to athletes, 4 of the top 5 Googled were Blue Jays, including rookie Trey Savage, and rounding out the list, Canadian tennis star Victoria Mboko, who at age 18 won the National Bank Open in Montreal. As for searches, starting with what, among the most popular were, what does elbows up mean? What time is the Jays game today? And what does 6-7 mean? A meme that caught on fast with kids and has no fixed meaning, part of its appeal. The top why questions: why is Canada Post on strike? Why did Trudeau resign? And why do baseball players spit? When it comes to the top searched word in pop culture, it was La Boo Boo, a line of plush toys that went viral, followed by Bianca Censori's Grammy dress.
My name is Happy Gilmore.
While the top searched movie was Happy Gilmore 2. And the most Googled song, Golden, from the animated musical K-pop Demon Hunters. A year that had its golden moments as we count down the final weeks to 2026. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
All right, so why do baseball players spit? I'll be looking up on Google when we say goodbye. Thank you for sharing your time with us this Thursday. I'm Sandy Ronaldo. Heather Butts is here tonight and tomorrow. Bye for now. Be well.